Okay, here it is. Julius Romano. Dr. Romano is my academic title. I'm a doctor of Roman law. What is Roman law? The origin of common law. We, as United States, are under the common law system. So, is it rolling?
Yes.
So basically, the origin of the law is the Roman law. Our natural laws, which are inscribed in the Declaration of Independence, coming directly from Rome, which actually took them from Greece, right? So the natural laws are really an historical prodromic, a cornerstone of every great society and great civilization. So our forefathers designed the Declaration of Independence with that in mind. Some of them, they were Latinists, at least they could translate Latin. Some, they could even translate Greek. Example, Thomas Jefferson. So I am a constitutionalist and passionate about the origin of the law. And the origin of the law, it is definitely the jus naturale, jus positivum, that is to say the natural law, which we all sacred in our Declaration of Independence, and then they are the inspiration for the Constitution, and not just.
So we know you're a professor.
Yes.
What else do you want people to know about you as a person?
Well, I am very passionate. I am a kind of, my personality, if they have to expect a type of mayor, what kind of type of mayor will I be? I will be a very compassionate and very passionate mayor, a type of like Fiorello LaGuardia, the mayor of New York, right? 1934, 1945. I mean, he stayed in power about 11 years, 12 years. He was the mayor of New York, beloved mayor of New York. There is an airport, LaGuardia Airport, in his name, but there are so many other things that Fiorello was doing. And I can tell you a story about Fiorello LaGuardia to tell you exactly what is my type of, what is my style. Fiorello LaGuardia became mayor. First of all, he was Italian, so there is a connection also between me and Fiorello in the sense that both of his parents were Italian, from Foggia, Italy. He was a custom officer. He was working in Ellis Island during the big wave of immigration of new Americans, newcomers. We are all immigrants in this country. We're all a melting pot of different nationality and background. And we should never forget that. We should never forget that we are all immigrants to this country. And we brought to this country the best we could. And we did, okay? We interpreted the self-evident truth, the jus positivum naturale, the law of Rome that were inscribed in the Declaration of Independence. We contributed to the fulfilling of the promise of 1776, July the 4th. So Fiorello LaGuardia had both parents born in Italy. He himself witnessed the misery of some of the immigrants escaping from Europe. By the way, a second wave of immigration is coming shortly because Europe is falling apart as we speak. So this is part of the international issue, but I will discuss it later. But anyway, so Fiorello LaGuardia was a very compassionate and passionate mayor. And there is a story about his personality, and we can identify with him, I can identify with him, in the sense that we are both from Italian extraction, and we know about the family values and tradition. So we're very conservative in that sense, and attached to the family. So he was in New York. He was elected mayor. It was his first mandate in New York City. It was already a monster out of control, New York. I mean, it was 5 million inhabitants back in 1930. The 30s, the city was starting coming out of the Depression. There was the New Deal by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who called upon every single American to sacrifice. And so it was a very difficult time. And Fiorello was the mayor of New York. The only mayor, actually a Republican mayor, who would get along fine with Delano, who was actually a staunch Democrat, right? So he,
So you think that, in the simplest terms, what traits
I'm just about to tell you the story that I'm telling you. If you let me finish the story, I will, you'll understand what I stand for. So Fiorello LaGuardia once took, I was walking around the city, was actually checking on the district court in New York, and there was a judge that was sick, and he took his place. He took his place on the bench, and it was brought to him a lady. There were a lot of incidents, a lot of crime in certain area in New York. They were stealing all kind of stuff. You know, the people were poor, and she was accused by a baker to have stolen 2 loaves of bread, and she was then, you know, accused and brought to the court. And Fiorello was there instead of the judge, by the power vested in him by the city of New York. And the baker refused to drop the charges. So she was about to be condemned, and Fiorello executed the sentence. Says, yes, unfortunately, the person that is accusing you is not dropping the charges. I'll have to condemn you, $10 or 10 days in prison. But by the time he's with this gavel, he knocked it out twice. But by that time, he already had opened his wallet and put $10 in the bucket for paying the fine. And so the lady was basically off, but it was not enough for Fiorello. He said, and there were vast crowd of policemen, you know, city officials in there, because the court was open until 10 p.m. So he said, and to all of you, including the baker who had actually moved charges against the lady, and to all of you, by the power vested in me by the city of New York, I fine 50 cents each of one, because you have allowed this poor woman to starve and to be resorted to stealing 2 loaves of bread to feed their family, and we are all responsible of it. So Mr. Braniff, who was the sheriff in the court, collect the fine. So the story goes that at the end of the night, the lady not only was freed from the jail, because Fiorello had paid the fine, but everybody in there contributed 50 cents, and she walked out with a $47.50. And what did the next day, the New York Times ran the story to show that really they had found the right mayor. They had found the right mayor who addressed the issue of poverty in town and get their people on their side. And everyone agreed with that. So this is what you might expect if you elect me as a mayor of Shreveport, because we need a compassionate leadership, and we need true leadership, not salesmanship. We don't need people that says, you know, this morning I ate eggplants, they were light in my face, I couldn't see what I was signing. You know, we don't need that. We need people that take responsibility, able to respond every single day. And that's why I should run, and I'm running for mayor, and this is why you should give me the vote. Not because of my accent. You should not vote against or in favor of me because of my accent, or because I was born in Italy, like Fiorello or many others, right? But because I am doing the right thing for the city of Shreveport, and that is the issue. That is the core issue. Thank you.
So, when it comes to crime, and I know that these were some of the issues that were touched
Yes.
on during the forum, but obviously you guys didn't have as much time as you might have liked to state your platform. So when it comes to crime, how do you plan to tackle that within the city?
Exactly like Fiorello did. That's why I mentioned in my forum 300 days. The crime is not going to be resolved by one, miracle, one magician that comes to town and resolve the crime. It takes a village to resolve this issue. So prevention is definitely one issue. And I have actually a plan, detailed plan, which I'm going to share with the population as soon as possible. But I don't think it is now fair, especially because, all these details of my plan are in writing, and it will take a long time to read those pages. I have 30 pages of detail.
Can you give us a brief synopsis?
Well, I can email it to you. As I said in my intervention at the forum, I said there are questions of leadership and which are related to jobs. Believe me or not, leadership is also connected to crime. If there is a leadership, automatically the police and the law enforcement will respond to that, which is not responding now. You can see, it doesn't require a PhD in crime prevention to understand that there is no leadership in town. Every single policeman that you will interview off camera will tell you that the problem is leadership. So leadership will impact also the rate of criminality in town. This is one of the issues. But there are several issues. I study failed municipality in the United States for the past 10 years. As I said, I'm a professor, so you have to trust me on this. Trust me, I have a plan. I didn't came in here, I didn't run, I'm not running for mayor or put my name on that. I am conscious of the responsibility that is to put the name on the ballot and go for a mayorship. It's an I office. You will be reflecting the town, and definitely what you need to do, what we need to do together is get out of this stagnation. Crime is just one of the issues, okay? Employment is another issue. The people are resorting to crime because they have no alternative whatsoever. They are trapped in here. And in fact, I don't subscribe to the solution of putting more bars and more cops. You will reduce the city to a federal state penitentiary. It's insanity. Like it is also insanity to vote for the same people over and over and over again, expecting different results. Definition of insanity by Albert Einstein. So I have a plan, okay, which is detailed here, and I study, and I don't want to give my intellectual property like this unless we have a fair, square, debate about this issue, and I can debate fairly with all these others.
I don't think I understand. Can you highlight some of the main points?
I already told you. I'm going to give you a synopsis of that. I'm going to send it to you via email. Not a problem. Everything is now digital, right? Do you want me to give you 30 pages right now? I don't think it is what you want, right? I'm going to detail right now what I have in mind to resolve the crime, okay?
I'm asking because,
Yeah.
the reason why I wanted to record it is so that we can, get it on air and on our website. So is there anything within that plan that you want to highlight or that you want people to
Yes. I want people to know what the plan is, and I have a plan. It's a 300 days plan. I said that in the forum, okay? I said that, and maybe I should let the people of Shreveport judge my plan and read my plan. I can, synthesize, make a synopsis, a reduced version. I really don't like it to do a reduced version because it's prone to different interpretation. Because if you, instead of 30 pages detailed explanation, you go down to 5 outline points, it's not the plan. You are actually cohorting the plan. You are just varying the plan. I make an analogy. You write a recipe for a great plate, for a great food, right? But instead of indicating all the ingredients, you just give a synopsis with 5 ingredients. That's not the plate. That's not the recipe. That's not going to be the meal that you are intent to cook. So in order to cook, you need to prepare the meal. You have to line up all the ingredients, the onions, the carrots, the tomato, the celery, and so on, and then prepare it and cook at the right temperature, and then separately you do your sauce, and then mix the ingredients and with the pasta or with the rice, and you do this, the mushroom on one side. This is what you need to do, and you cannot just synthesize things in 5 points and say, okay, you mix these 5 ingredients and you put it in the tortillas and you're on your own. No, that's a burrito, man. We're not dealing with a burrito. The city of Shreveport, it deserves something more than a burrito. And I am a professor, and I am a commander of military police. I know what comes from the principle of commanding military police and units, right? I know what comes from the principle of policing a town. What is this police service? It's not just military service, but police service. And I also investigated government. I found the hole in their accountability, and I resolved government, local and national government. This is my specialty. That's what I studied for years in Europe. So trust me, I know when I'm saying I have a plan, and it's a detailed plan, and doesn't deserve to be reduced into a burrito here. So I'm not reducing my plan into a burrito for quick sale. I am going to have a plan, and it's going to be precisely the plan done by the citizen of Shreveport with me as a leader of Shreveport, a leader that takes responsibility for the plan. And we together will achieve the resolution of the crime, and we will. I'm going to give you some quick points. Leadership jobs leadership, and I already said that. How can the plane of the city take off? Another metaphor, another figure of speech. If we Think about the city of Shreveport as a plane, which has two wings, the Republican and Democrat, right? How can the plane possibly ever take off if the two wings go, one wing goes on one side and the other wing goes on the others, and they don't do the same thing, right? They have to go in unison. They have to act at the same time, okay? Pro tempore, and at the same time. So you cannot have a plane ever taking off, no matter how powerful is the engine, if the wings are not in coordination. And the pilot needs to know exactly when to exert power and thrust in the city. So he has to have the pulse of the city. And that's exactly what you need. You need a professional pilot here who take responsibility of takeoff with all the passengers, because you have a responsibility of all the passengers on board, right? So you're not going to just force the engine on something that is not going to work. You are spinning your wheels and burning your engine. No, that's very dangerous. You're going to take off when everything is ready, when all your check light. My father was a pilot for 42 years. You check all the lights and everything fine, and your security is checked, and the runway is free and clear, and then you exert the thrust, and then you move on and you take off. That's exactly my plan. Job, leadership, equal opportunity. Bring company in town. The city revenue, we need to regain utilities, trash, the trash contract, and so on. We need to regain those revenue. We are losing left and right. We are throwing money out to companies that don't even have business in town. This is not possible. We need to regain control of our finances in town and bring revenue to the town, directly to the town, in the pocket and the coffin of the citizen of Shreveport who pay taxes. And that is the issue. In fact, let me tell you about the company. They ask me, oh, what about the company? How many company? I am a European, of European birth and European training, right? Although I'm an American, I spent here 30 years of my life in the United States, and I'm 50, okay? So just to give you a proportion, okay? 2/3 of my life was here in America. I love the United States, I love America. America from Amerigo Vespucci, another Italian, by the way, so we shouldn't be prevented against Italian origin name, especially. Anyway, Amerigo, America. So you look at the situation in Europe. Companies are fleeing left and right. Do you know that there is a default of gas supply up to 80% in Germany, 70% in Italy, 45% in France, Spain, Portugal, you name it. There is no energy. These companies are starving to death. This next winter will be very interesting in Europe because Mr. Putin, Vladimir has turned off the faucets and there are no energy. How can Europe fence off if it has been dependent the last 25 years on energy from Russia? The result is zero. They have no plan. They have no game plan. And so I'm expecting a lot of companies knocking at our door, especially here in Shreveport, where the system of law, I repeat, the Code Napoleon is the same as it is in Europe, right? And what they will do, they'll come here and set up business, and we will thrive. We will finally take off, per example of the plane I made. Education. Education is one side dear to me. We need to put the research center here on LSUS so we can attract bright mind, and they can come here and stay in Shreveport, right? Rather than, well, wait a minute, it just, it's 7:30, I need to leave to another town where they offer me 3 times the salary. No, it cannot be like this. We cannot have people who are trained here and then they leave the town the next day. Can't have that. International connection and networking in jobs. Why? Why this is important? International connection. I can pick up the phone and speak 5 languages, 6 languages. Yes. Why do I have an accent? Because I speak several foreign languages. This is why I have an accent. Because if you have one accent, you cannot speak another language. This is renowned in linguistic academia, that you need to possess no accent in order to speak fluently and with the right pronunciation foreign language. I speak several foreign. You want to know what language that I speak? I can tell you. English, American English, British English, Castilian Spanish, which is different from the Tex-Mex Spanish, right, or the Central American Spanish. I can speak Portuguese, Italian, French, you name it, all the language of Europe. And I am going to pick up the phone as a mayor of Shreveport and call this company. and they will respond to that call. Why? Because it's in their best interest to come in here and set up business because they have no other option than going out. That's what it is.